It is the 24th in the evening, and we are soon getting ready for bed. It's like about 7 o'clock, and most of the time I'm up a good bit of the night. I've been an insomniac my whole life since I was a little kid, so that's not anything new. But I wanted to do, it was important for me to do like a follow-up video on the video that I just talked about. Is like, where am I now and how am I feeling and what's going on? And a couple people asked questions, and a couple people, said their feelings, and some people said they thought my husband was controlling. And so I thought, just let me just kind of fill you in on things I didn't say so that there's a clearer picture. And I said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today. I love my husband. He's an amazing man. He's accomplished. He's an artist. He's extremely talented, and he's very smart, and he's very caring, and he's very loving, and he's very giving, and he's very good to me. He's extremely good to me. So keep that in mind as we move forward, and you meet more and more of him and see more of him and learn who he is. One of the biggest things is anytime you move, there's a change, a big change. The memories from my apartment were strong. It was really hard for me to move from there for a lot of reasons. One of them was having the ambulance right up the street in case anything ever happened to me. I had this security feeling. I have severe anxiety and panic attacks, and that's why I'm on disability. And having an ambulance a half a block away just made me feel secure. Having a store that I could walk to, being independent if I needed to be, those kind of things. And so moving into an area that I didn't know, that was very unfamiliar to me. And again, it's not that far from where I was. It's like 20 minutes. So it's not like I moved into another county or another state, but it still is a bit of a distance. So that's hard enough. That will change in time. As I get walking the neighborhood, as the weather breaks, as I get driving, whatever that might be, George's car or my own car at some point, when that can happen. But it was a big change. And everything was really quick. We had to get this house really fast. Real estate moves quickly. Houses don't stay on the market long. It's like our realtor said, if there's something you see you like, you've got to move fast or you're not going to get it. And so we needed to move fast. And that's exactly what happened. This place was on the market like 4 days. A bid was put in on it. We went back and forth one time, and the offer was accepted. And we had a settlement date like 3 weeks later because the sellers were motivated. They had a reason they needed to move. And so here we are. My husband was on his own for a fair amount of time, a couple of years. And so in being on his own, he did things on his own. He just did what he needed to do. He took care of life, and he just did it. He didn't, have somebody's hand to hold. He just did things, as did I. Sky was really sick. I did all the driving, all the going, all the doing, all the bill paying, I did all that. So when you have two people that each have done the same thing, and then they're put together, it's like one person's thinking they should do it all, and the other person's thinking they're going to do it all. If that makes any sense. So when it came to the house, no, I didn't pick the house. I'm not going to backstep on that and say, I loved it. Everything was different. Everything felt different. No house would have felt like my apartment. I had a different picture in my head, but this house was picked for specific reasons. I said that yesterday. a lower price, something affordable, houses on either side, which helps for the economics of heat and air conditioning. For me, going from an apartment, which was really small, into this much space, it's overwhelming and intimidating at times. It's been a long time since I was in a house with, I'll tell you, it's been since 19, let's see, my youngest daughter was 5 and she's now 33. So that's the last time I was in a house that had a second floor. So to me, this house was huge. Everything felt huge and big, and I was overwhelmed. I'm still overwhelmed. I looked at what I owned. I looked at everything that I owned, all the colors, all the, the tapestries, all the things. And I'm looking around here and I'm like, this isn't going to fit. It's not going to fit. It's just not, it's not. I felt uncomfortable with my things in this house. My husband never, ever once said to me, I don't want you to hang that up, or I don't want you to put that up. He never said that. He would never say that. My decision to pack away all my stuff, give away my stuff, throw away my stuff was my decision because I felt this isn't going to fit. I felt like I needed to redo Poet, like make a new version of me, but I didn't know what that was. I still don't. So, Brenda, you asked, why would somebody be interested in picking bedding and picking for? I don't understand, because that typically would be something a man really wouldn't, care about or really want to worry about or anything like that. The interesting thing there's a couple things. I never owned a trash can with a lid, but, I had a paper bag over my trash can and it worked fine. Having a trash can now that has a lid on it is a little bit different for me, but most people have trash cans with lids on. They're just, even the littlest things like that are different for me. And I'm not used to a lot of the things. But like when it came to the bedding, we'll just talk about that for a second. We went to Walmart to look for bedding. And George's favorite color is blue. My favorite colors are black and seafoam. I really love seafoam. Hence the curtains in the bathroom. The bathroom window faces the parking lot. Half the window is frosted, and the whole window itself has 3 panels of seafoam curtains, which are the curtains I had in my apartment in my bedroom. I washed them and dried them and brought them with. And they're in the bathroom. 3 panels so that people can't see in even through the frosted glass. Okay. So when we got to Walmart, I knew his favorite color was blue, and I picked, we looked at 3 different blue comforter sets. And I said to him, what do you like any of these? Because I thought for sure he'd pick one of the blue ones. And so I said to him, what do you like? Because getting a comforter was way down at the end of the list. Like everything else had already been picked and bought and all that. But he looked at everything and he picked the set that we have on the bed. Now, would I ever have guessed that in a million years? No, I wouldn't have. But because he's an artist, maybe I'm guessing for him. I don't know. I don't know why he picked this set, but he's an artist. Maybe he was thinking that the blue would not go with these color walls. I don't know. But an artist, it's interesting when you marry an artist. An artist's eyes, there's a different feel to them. Like he looks at what color goes with what color. Like he knows what fits, And so maybe he was thinking that, I'm not sure. Or maybe what he picked was something he was used to. And that's the bottom line. There were things I was used to in the apartment, which was my good old Mr. Coffee. I buy one a year because then they burn out and go and spend $12, buy another one. He didn't have a Mr. Coffee at his house. He had an espresso machine. So that's what he was used to. So when he said he was going to get an espresso machine, I felt intimidated because I never used an espresso machine. I never even saw one being used. He's had it for a couple of weeks, I think. I have not seen him use it. He goes down in the morning, he makes a latte, brings it up to bed. I have my cup of hot tea that he makes for me and brings up to me every morning so that I don't have to go fix my tea. He fixes my tea for me. But the espresso machine is not my thing. I have zero interest in it. Zero interest. And he knows that, and he's fine with that. But I said, hey, one day you'll have to show me how this works. I don't want any of it, but I'm just curious how it works because I can hear it running. So that's just something he was used to, right? So when you're used to one thing and then you try to get used to something else, it's hard. Just like with me trying to get used to things, it's the same thing for him. He paid for pretty much everything in this house, except for like the little appliances and things. I covered those, but he covered all the other stuff. So I didn't feel as though I even had a right to say, I like this over this. Even though in the beginning, when we first started shopping, I did say, hey, I like this. And then he would check the ratings and he would check how they were built and things like that, which is a smart thing to do. And he would find things that were put together a little better, that might last a little bit longer. It may not have been what I picked, but what he felt was going to work better. So, like across the board, Brenda, you asked, was he being controlling or was I being timid? I was being timid. I just didn't feel as though I ever have the right to say, I want this and this and this. I would prefer this and this and this, please, instead of this and this and this, when someone else is paying for it. So in the end, it's furniture, it's here, it's nice, the house is nice. I'm not used to it. I'm not used to the neighborhood. It's going to take me a long time. Being an introvert, having the anxiety that I do, going through all the change that I've gone through, and as far as like my grieving process, that's not ever going to end. There's no end to grief. It comes in waves. It comes and goes. I'll be a lot better off when I don't have to go back to my apartment over and over again. We should be able to wrap that up in the next week where I won't ever go back in there again. Which even though that sounds really good, it also means that I won't be going in there again. And that's the place that I took care of Sky for almost 4 years. So everything's new, everything's fresh, everything's different. And if you make one change, if it was Sky dying and me working through that, that's one thing. And then meeting someone and getting engaged and getting married, that's another thing. And then buying a house in another town, that's another thing. But it's the same for him. Going through a divorce, getting remarried, completely different type of woman, moving into a new house in an area that, yes, he knows, but it's still a different neighborhood. It's still with a different person. He still is trying to play catch up himself. And so we're both going through the same thing. And so it's been difficult, and I am trying to find me. And it's not anything that he did that I lost myself. He didn't create any change in me. He didn't. The changes that I feel are changes within me, things that I have to work through, things that I have to come to terms with. Who am I now, post Sky's death, post moving, getting married and moving into the house? Who am I? What do I want to do? What do I want to do with the rest of my life? How do I want to spend it? My dream and my goal is to help him with his art as much as I can by taking pictures, because he paints some of the pictures I take, and just encourage him in his career there, because he's extremely talented. And I have to find what my thing is. I have to find my own thing. That's really not for him to find, but he's made suggestions. I said, I'd love to write. I'd love to make a blog. And he said, well, I can set up a website for you and you can do your blog. You know, so he's very encouraging for me. He is. How can I help you with that? What can I do? What can I do for you? He asks me that every day, and I ask him that every day. We do that every single day. What can I do to make your life easier? What can I do today to help you? Because we both want this to work, and we both want this to be forever. And there's a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, but you've got to go through them, and you'll come out okay on the other side. Right now, there's so much change. There's been so much change. Like, my head is spinning and his head is spinning. So we're just trying to figure it out, you know? And as he says, at the end of the day, he says this so many times, at the end of the day, it just comes down to, you know, it's you and I. And that's what it is. It comes down to him and I. So we're communicating a lot. I'm able to tell him how I'm feeling about things. He's able to tell me what he's feeling and what he needs and wants, and I'm able to say, okay, this is how I'm feeling, and I just want to feel a part of something. And leaving what I knew and coming to what I don't know, it has been difficult. It's going to be difficult for anybody. So he's a good man. I would not have gotten married if he wasn't a good man. I was single for 10 years, you know, and I would have stayed single the rest of my life if I hadn't met a really good man. He's figuring his stuff out too along the way. So I love him. He is amazing. And as we move forward, you'll see more and more of, you know, the man that he is and the kindness that's in him, because it is. And sometimes what he tries to do is he tries to figure things out and do things so that it doesn't create more anxiety for me. So a lot of times he'll handle something that he knows would be upsetting for me, or it would create more stress for me. So a lot of times he'll handle stuff just to help my mental health. And I think that was a lot of what happened with the house, because, you know, he knew I was leaving the apartment. He knew how hard that was on me. And I think that was a lot too of the way he was handling things. What can I do to make her part in this a little bit softer and gentler? So it was important to me to do this video, because I'm always honest about how I'm feeling, no matter what. And my caring for my husband is important to me. my feelings for him and how he's feeling about things is important to me. And his self-esteem, you know, and him trying to do the right thing and then it coming across as he's not doing anything right. And so that needed to get fixed by me. I don't want that impression hanging, because that's not how it is. I said I lost me. I didn't say, he hid me away or anything like that, or I made decisions to put my stuff away until and if I can ever figure if this stuff is going to work in this house. He said we can go and look around at stores and things, and maybe there's something we'll both like. Maybe there's something that you'll like and I'll like, and we can get that. And I'm at a point right now, honestly, where I just don't care anymore. It's like, okay, it's furniture. Okay, it's a TV. Okay, it's a picture. Like I've kind of given up after all the change, the moving, losing Sky, the moving, getting married, all this. I've just given up caring about all that stuff. It's kind of like with the way the world is right now, it's just like if I'm breathing and I'm eating and I have shelter, and I'm relatively healthy physically, that's really all that I care about, and that he's healthy and good, and that our marriage is solid. That's what's important. So I'm going to go. Thanks for listening. Thanks for letting me go on and on. I love you guys. You're important. Take care of yourself. What does Sky say? Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. So I'll leave you with that.